All right, now it's time for a little fantasy football playoffs. You want to talk about playoffs, Dave?
Yeah, let's talk about playoffs. Well, let's first talk about who's in first place in the NFC North.
Yeah, that go ahead touchdown number 71 clothesline in our guy. That wasn't fun to watch.
And they weren't holding Parsons the whole game.
Oh, I hear it every week from you. Parsons is getting held. Parsons, every freaking team holds Parsons. The refs are holding Parsons, Dave. The refs are doing it, man. I hear about Parsons being held constantly from you guys. It drives me nuts. And maybe he does get freaking held. But that was a touchdown play, It should have been a field goal. Whatever. Here's the thing. I expect you to lose that game. I'm happy the Bears are 9-4. We get the Packers in 13 days, my friend. It's just a 2-week turnaround here. You go to Denver. We got Cleveland at home. I think it's okay. It's I will say that I am afraid, Dave, that to get a wild card in the NFC, we might need 11 wins.
It's crazy. I know, because the Bears went from first to
seventh, I think,
top of the conference to 7th seed, which is just nuts. Yeah,
it's
you're
crazy.
right. They might need 10 or 11 wins for sure.
One game, but that's how tight it is. And the Rams still got to go to Seattle. They don't have an easy schedule. Seattle's got a tough schedule. Everyone's got a hard schedule, and we got to go to San Francisco. We got Green Bay at home. We got Cleveland home. We got to win in Cleveland against Cleveland. Cleveland could be a pain in the ass if their defense ever shows. They sometimes do, but I expect to win that game. It's just all shaping up to be crazy. And then you got the Chiefs sitting there at 5-7. That's still not mathematically out. Feels like some magic is going to freaking happen. They're going to get in.
You never know with the Chiefs, man. But it's not looking good for them, for sure.
Definitely not looking good. They must have like a less than 5% chance to get in. But I think that they lost the tiebreaker against the Bills and the Jaguars. And but the Jaguars could win their division. So, we'll see what happens with all that.
And speaking of the Browns, my D-Nasty sleeper last week that was super nasty. He went off. Shadir Sanders, 364 yards, 3 TDs, and a rushing TD. He had 4 TDs total. So definitely was a nasty sleeper last week.
Certainly was a nasty sleeper. I can't remember who mine was. I'll look here. But in the meantime, is there any buys, Dave?
No buys this week. It's playoff time, baby, like you said. So you gotta get your lineup set. You don't have to worry about any buys going forward.
That's nice. Not worrying about buys is great, but worrying about injuries is always there. And we have a few this week. Big ones. CeeDee Lamb. I expect him, since he's got 10 days off the Thursday game, to probably play, Dave. But you never know with these concussions, and we'll tell you who to pick up when that comes up to it. Big loss if the Cowboys can't have CeeDee Lamb. Running back Keaton Mitchell hurt his ankle for the Ravens. He's the backup, so we got to find another backup since the other backup, Justice Hill's out. Tight end David Njoku hurt his knee for Cleveland a little bit, so you got to watch out for that. We have Daniel Jones, of course, the biggest one of the week, tore his Achilles, and he's out for the freaking season, and that is bad because now the Colts might not be in the playoffs. I
feel bad for him, actually. I feel bad for Daniel Jones, too. He's having such a great year, playing well. The Colts are playing well. Just overall, just thoughts go out to him, man. And I feel for him. He's having a bounce back year. So it just sucks, man. Just worst timing ever, too, to have that happen to him.
It was the worst timing ever. Mine was Jameson Williams, and he wasn't as good since what's-his-name played in St. Brown actually did play, but he was okay. He got like 9 points or something, but nothing too worthy. All right, we all got Riley Leonard also. Even Daniel Jones' backup is hurt, and you know that Richardson's been out, and he's still on IR. They're picking up guys off the shelf. I mean, they were talking about picking up
Rivers.
Old man Rivers, Dave. They're probably going with Brent Rippon off their practice squad, but this is going to be a really poor. I think they should be running Wildcat or something this week, Dave.
Oh my God, yeah. If they're 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, if they're bringing him in for a trial, that's pretty sad.
It is. But man, he's a grandpa. He'd be like the first grandpa to ever throw a touchdown if that happened. I would love to see Grandpa Rivers, old man Rivers, come out there and make some noise. That'd be fun. He's probably got like some big beer gut right now.
Just like he came in like Flacco and just like lit it up like Flacco did a couple years ago.
Yeah, too bad the trade deadline's passed. It would be great to trade for Flacco again. He was on the Colts last year, I think. Geno Smith suffered a shoulder injury, but dude, I don't even know if that's just his poor play also. I think he's it might be curtains for that kid. Running back Devon Achan didn't return, but should be ready for next week, according to McDaniels. So he just was emergency to come back in that game. Darnell Washington, tight end, had a concussion against the Ravens for the Steelers, but Steelers is tight end hell. They got 3 tight ends there, man, and it's just you just never know who's going to get the ball over there in Pittsburgh for tight ends. Quarterback Jaden Daniels hurt his elbow against the Vikings. I didn't get an update on that, Dave, but can't be great.
No, they haven't said anything yet, but I would think he's not playing this week for sure. And I don't think if they were smart, they would hold him out the rest of the year too. It doesn't make sense to play him anymore.
Yeah, at least like wait a few weeks and then have him just kind of come in at the end. I don't, you might as well protect your investment. Tight end Zach Ertz, nasty, suffered the ACL too, and we don't know exactly what kind, but it looks like they said he's out for the year. So bummer for Zach Ertz. That was part of my big fantasy loss in my league. Any other injuries I missed?
No, I had all the same ones. The Daniel Jones is the big one for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So waiver wire, Dave. Who we picking up to replace some of these dudes and to win your week 1 fantasy playoffs?
All right. So like you said, for the Colts, it's going to be Brett Rippon or Riley Leonard. I think Riley Leonard actually plays this week. But yeah, if he doesn't play, though, Brett Rippon would be the fill-in for him. And then we forgot to mention Tyrod Taylor actually left the game, too, with an injury. So if he doesn't play this week, Brady Cook would be the backup that we'd be picking up for him. But I don't even think he's playable, though. So unless you're very desperate, I'm not picking him up probably and starting him. If Riley Leonard plays, though, he's definitely serviceable and can have a decent fantasy week. So those are the guys I like for them. A couple guys coming off buys in case someone did drop them. We got Devin Singletary coming back and Bryce Young. If anyone did drop either one of them, they're coming back this week.
Dave, I want to say real quick that they already announced Riley Leonard's probably not playing next week. They said he's now week to week. He's got a nasty.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. You can pick him up for like the week after. Pick him up for the week after.
Yeah, for the week after, probably. Then we got Ryan Flournoy for the CeeDee Lamb injury. When he did come in for him that game, he actually had over 100 yards and a touchdown. So,
yeah,
very valuable pickup here this week if CeeDee Lamb doesn't play. So, or even if you have CeeDee Lamb, maybe you want to pick him up just in case because Flournoy looked actually really good. Pickens kind of disappeared that game. Pickens has been having an unbelievable year, but he kind of didn't show up in that last game.
He's dogging his routes, man. Dogging his routes. They all talked about it. It was the big story on Friday. Richard Sherman was ripping on him, and he did dog his routes. He looked lazy, and especially that one out when he should have been a pass completed. He was probably the number 1 wide receiver. He was probably the first look. It looked like he was the first guy not to check down. And what the hell are you doing, Pickens?
Yeah, he definitely didn't have the effort. Didn't really care. I don't think that game. So. Yeah, it wasn't a good game by him overall, but Flournoy, he definitely stepped up. So if that's the case again, yeah, he could definitely be very valuable. Devin Neal actually has been playing really well the last 2 weeks in place of Alvin Kamara. So if Kamara's out again, keep an eye on that too. He's still out with a sprained MCL. So definitely keep an eye on that. Devin Neal is a great pickup. He had another touchdown this past week. So he's been filling admirably for him. Jane Higgins, Alex Pierce, we've talked about them in the past. Actually, a new one, though, Luther Burden III. He actually was getting some play this past week. You could probably touch base on that a little bit, but
our guy was out. We had a guy out, and it was a weird Odunze type scratch at the last minute. We never thought he was hurt really, and it just kind of popped up on the injury report, and that was a massive. I'll tell you this: if Odunze leaves, he'll be a great play for next week.
Oh yeah, and then 2 quarterbacks actually that were pretty surprising this week. Shadir Sanders, my D-Nasty sleeper last week, and J.J. McCarthy. I don't know what to think of him, but he went out for 3 touchdowns this past week. Had a great game, so he's hit or miss. You never know with him, but he actually did look very good this week. So he is I would definitely take a look at putting in a waiver claim for him if you do need a quarterback this week. And I think they have a decent matchup this week as well, but we'll get into that. And Marcus Mariota, of course, the fill-in for Jane Daniels again, but he's probably picked up by a lot of people already. But if someone did drop him, yeah. But some people actually did drop him in quite a few of my leagues, actually. So if he's out there, you could probably pick him up as well. And CJ Stroud, that offense has been struggling, but he's showing signs of life the last couple of weeks, though. So if you do need a quarterback, those would be the ones I'd be looking at this week.
Yeah, you also got running back Rasheed Ali for the Mitchell industry, so handcuff Henry, and he'll get some. He always gets cleanup, so always the guy behind Henry. Blake Corum went way off on the Cardinals. Now, how sustainable is it? I think he's getting some more shares now. I think they're kind of resting Williams a little bit over there in LA, and yeah, Blake Corum probably worth owning, especially if he's out there because the handcuff is so key. That's one hell of a running back right there. Wide receiver Ryan Flournoy, like I said, like David said, that was massive pickup. Jalen Wright. Now, Achin's probably going to be back, but if Achin's still kind of banged up, Jalen Wright, he's the handcuff too. He's damn good, and he's available in your Yahoo league. I noticed, Dave. He's a very good pickup this week. Tim Patrick for the Jaguars, big 6 targets, touchdown. He's getting more love while what's his face isn't Rob. I don't know, Brian Robinson, right? I don't know what is. Yeah, I don't know what is going on over there. We mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Dawson Knox for the Bills, believe it or not, their best targets are now 2 tight ends. It's Kincaid and Knox over there in Buffalo. He doesn't trust anyone else.
Game this past week. Yeah, he's definitely a nice backup.
Yeah. Harold Fannin Jr. will get more targets if Njoku's out. John Bates, I think, is the Ertz injury one. But God, please avoid Washington right now. They are just ugly. So I agree with all that, Dave. And let's move into sleepers, non-starters up training for week 15. And I'll start with Marcus Mariota, of course, because, I don't think Jaden Daniels starts and he has a great matchup against the Giants. I think they're going to kind of get, I think they're not going to look nearly as bad as they did last week. Let's just say, John Bates is a sneaky one too. I guess if you think he's going to throw it to the tight end, unless you have better options, but Ryan Flournoy, and I think that maybe CeeDee Lamb doesn't play, so I would at least have him ready to load up because he'll get another huge. Why not? Seattle will hit against a bad Colts team. I like Seattle's D this week against the no quarterback Colts. Why not start that Seattle D? Ricky Pearsall against the Titans after the bye. I think they finally fixed whatever's going on with Ricky Pearsall. I think he's going to have a big game against the Titans. Brian Robinson, also a hit against the Titans because that CMC will be limited. They're not going to run him down. Oh, Bryce Young. Again, we'll get some revenge against the Saints for that ugly loss they took earlier this year, knocking people out of their survivors. And tight end Dallas Goedert against the Raiders, I think is a great play too. If you're unsure of tight ends, Dallas Goedert I think is a good option. Who are your sleepers, Dave?
I like Chris Godwin this week. Actually, he hasn't really done much this year, but he's actually starting to get healthy, I think, now. So I like him this week against the poor Falcons D. Falcons just struggled overall this year, too. So I like that matchup. Also, I do like Darnell Mooney, actually. The Buccaneers defense has not been very good this year, and their secondary has just been horrendous. So I like Cousins and I like Mooney this week. And Pitts has actually been playing well the last couple of weeks, too. He's been on definitely a higher upward trend for the last couple of weeks. So definitely Pitts be the guy I like the most for there on that matchup. I like Shadir Sanders again this week. They said he's going to QB1 in the rest of the year. I like Harold Fannin too, like we said. I like both those guys this week, especially with
Sanders. You gotta be kidding me.
I like him. The Bears secondary still struggle. That's how the Packers beat them, I think, is the secondary struggle. Dave,
don't overplay your hand on Shador, my friend. He's going to get picked.
You got picked last week, but he had 4 touchdowns as well. So we'll see.
Okay.
I do like the matchup for the Ravens this week. Bengals defense secondary is just horrendous, one of the worst in the league. I think Lamar bounces back, has a good week this week. I like Zay Flowers this week. Henry, you're already starting, but I like Zay Flowers. You probably is borderline though, so I like Zay Flowers. I think he's trending up this week. I like the Texans this week against the Cardinals. Cardinals don't have a very good D. I think Stroud could actually have a good week. I like Jaden Higgins too. I think both those guys could have good weeks. You're already starting Collins though, but yeah, definitely like Higgins though. He's a guy that's trending up. I like Tootin this week. Tootin didn't have a good week last week. ATN kind of had the better week last week, but I like Tim Patrick this week against that poor Jets D as well. And I like Tootin too. He could get some garbage yardage, like you said, and maybe a garbage TD later in that game. I like the Patriots this week. I like Drake May. He's definitely started already.
Well, he's a starter Go
Yeah,
on.
he's a starter. I shouldn't even set him, but Trevon Henderson, though, coming off their bye, I like him. And then Ramon Stevenson's back, too. I think they could have good days against the Bills defense.
Can I add Hunter
their
Henry?
secondary-
Can I add Hunter Henry this week? Dude, he's been a
Yeah.
great tight end lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, I like Hunter Henry too. So yeah, Bills defense has been giving up tons of points these last couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm definitely stacking up. Even maybe Max Hollins might be borderline sleeper this week as well against that poor secondary for the Bills. I like the matchup here for the Commanders and Giants. Neither one of them are good defenses. Jackson Dart, I think, can have a good day this week. And I like Singletary too. I think him or Tracy's banged up still, I think. So he's questionable, I think, this week. But I like Singletary and I like Jackson Dart this week against the Commanders. Eagles, I like Devontae Smith this week against them. And then I'd probably go there too, like you said. I definitely like that play, like you said. Some of the other ones here. I like the 49ers, like you said. I like Pierce. I like that pick. And then probably Juwan Jennings too. I think he could have a big game this week against that poor Titans D. I like that game. I like the Vikings this week against the Cowboys. Cowboys D is still, I'm not still sold on them. I think JJ McCarthy has another good week against that poor Cowboys D.
All right. Yeah, JJ could. This is I agree with all that. Absolutely. The busts, though, we got to talk about non-starters, Dave. And why don't you go ahead?
All right. The ones I don't like this week are going to be the Bears. I don't like them against their Browns D. I think Caleb struggles a little bit against that Browns D. I think the running game still going to be strong.
Packers get one interception to save the game, to literally save the game at home, and you're fading the Bears. God.
Just Caleb a little bit, man. He's one of the worst completion percentages in the league, and he's playing a legit defense. And Myles Garrett is.
They sure were not legit against the Titans. Let's just say that.
All right. Well, we'll see. I think they bounce back this week, though. I don't like the Cardinals this week. Jacoby Brissett and Michael Wilson have been on fire these last 3-4 weeks. But I think it comes to an end here against that tough Texans D. I don't like that matchup. I don't like any Jets this week. I'm not starting the quarterback for them, whoever's starting that quarterback. Brees Hall is maybe even borderline startable this week, but I'm probably not even starting him either. Jaguars D is actually legit. So and that's one of the reasons that they're doing so well this year. I don't like that matchup this week. I don't like Travis Kelce this week against the Chargers. Chargers actually have a solid D as well, so I don't like that matchup for them. I don't like the Raiders this week. I'm not starting any Raiders, especially Genty or Geno Smith, whoever plays quarterback for them if Geno doesn't play. Definitely don't like that matchup. The Eagles, tough D as well. Plus, the Raiders have just been struggling all year anyways. I hate to say it, but I don't like the Packers this week against that tough Broncos D. I think Love could struggle a little bit this week against that tough Broncos D. I think Jacobs still gets his, but I think even Jacobs kind of be downgraded a little bit here this week too against that tough Broncos D. So that's going to be a tough matchup. Same with the Lions. The Lions have been playing better now of late, but the Rams D is a kind of underrated defense, and they're probably like top 10 right now. So definitely downgraded. I don't like Montgomery this week. Gibbs is still going to get his. I don't really like Goff this week either against that tough Rams D. So definitely downgrading them. You said, I don't like any of the Colts quarterbacks this week against the Seahawks. I think Pittman could struggle and Pierce could struggle this week because of that, because they don't have a legit quarterback, and the Seahawks have a solid defense as well. So don't like that matchup for the Colts this week. And that's what I got. What do you got?
Similar. Bo Nix against the Packers. I don't like that, but I also don't like Jordan Love against the Broncos. I think the under is looking good in that game. RJ Harvey against the Packers. I don't like that. The Bears tried to run and they did okay, but I mean, there's just such a good running team, and the Packers did enough. Wide receiver Christian Watson against the Broncos too. I don't like that, especially if Sauce is on, or what's his name is on. Surtain, right? Jonathan Taylor against. I don't like Jonathan Taylor against the Seahawks because they're going to stack the box now with that quarterback situation. Oh man, imagine benching Jonathan Taylor. That's hard. Shedeur Sanders against the Bears. Sorry, Dave. He's going to get picked 3 times and look like Shedeur on Colorado against Utah. That's what he's going to look like. Justin Herbert against the Chiefs. I don't love Justin Herbert in a short week against the Chiefs.
I like that one.
Yeah, I agree on that one. I agree with you with Jared Goff for sure. Don't want to start him. Don't want to start Jameson Williams against the Rams. Probably got to start St. Brown, but I just don't like those two. And Montgomery. If you're starting Montgomery anyway, geez, that's a rough start. That's really about it. I agree with some of yours as well. Let's go to our nasty sleeper. Dave, who we going to win our fantasy football week 15?
Well, I got a pretty nasty one again this week. You'd be surprised, kind of like you were last week, but I'm going with JJ McCarthy. I like his matchup against the Cowboys. Even if the Cowboys do get up with their great offense, I think they need to come from behind. He needs to throw the ball. So, if he doesn't have a great week, he's still going to get some garbage time points, I think, at the end, just trying to come back, and they're just going to have to throw the ball when they get behind on the Cowboys too. So, but the Minnesota D played well last week, so we'll see. I think he has the confidence now after one good week. So I'm going with JJ McCarthy as my D nasty sleeper this week.
JJ McCarthy. I still do not trust him, but it's nasty.
I don't either, but
it'll be that. That's a nasty sleeper. It's very nasty. I'm going to go with another quarterback, Jackson Dart, against the Commanders this week. I think Jackson Dart's hot, and sure, some people might be starting him. I don't know. I think Jackson Dart's a nice little nasty sleeper. A lot of people probably have him as a backup, but if you got like Jared Goff or something, or Justin Herbert against the Chiefs, I would seriously start Jackson Dart in your week 15 and watch him pile on the yards and score 3 touchdowns against the Commies. I think that's going to be good. I'll give you a bonus one too. Tim Patrick is getting a lot of love against the Jets. I can see Tim Patrick going off for the Jaguars against the Jets too. Yeah, so
Jackson Dart, that was my other one that I was looking at actually too. So it was between him and McCarthy actually.
All right, well, I guess we're going to find out which one is hotter, Dave. Anything we miss?
I don't think so. Just make sure you get your lineup set. Good luck in the playoffs this week. Most of you guys should be starting the playoffs this week, so make sure you get your lineup set and get ready to go.
All right.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, and thanks so much for listening to this podcast. If you have questions for us, feel free to tweet us at the Osbreakers. Email us at info@theosbreakers.com. Have a great rest of your week, and go get some winners.